I talk about Twitter banning over 1,000 users for posing as memes. That's right, we're getting banned on social media for meme usage. Now, Twitter said that they were banned because they're posting stuff that's deliberately misleading that could impact the election. And if I'm wrong about that, we'll find out in the article. And you see the headline right over my shoulder. What is NPC, the pro-Trump internet's new favorite insult? And the subhead here says Twitter has barred hundreds of right-wing accounts for posing as soulless, non-playable, liberal activists. Now, if you're into video games, if you're into the whole culture, the term NPC stands for non-playable character. If you have control over the main guy, like let's say you're playing Zelda and you have Link. When you go throughout the world, you may encounter certain characters in the game that you cannot play as. They're just there for decoration. They don't have any agency of their own. They're solely put there by the machine world to do specific things, but they can't act on their own. That is an NPC, a non-playable character. And you see some of the glorious memes right over my shoulder here. You could pretty much tell the general gist of it. They all have this gray skin, bald head, the nose, and then the mouth that's just straight across. It's like Borg. They're all pretty much the same. I did a video about that before, about how the liberal establishment, the liberal culture is like Borg. You have no agency of your own. You're pretty much dictated by a central core processor, and everything else outside of that is totally barred. This meme pretty much plays on that whole narrative. Some of these are hilarious. You see NPC Bane. You see the LGBT over here right next to my head. You see some of the hairstyles. I mean, these are just hilarious. And there are many more memes like this. If I could find a treasure trove of them, I will place them in the box. I mean, you saw the NPC over Christine Blasey Ford's face, the NPC over Anderson Cooper's face in video. I mean, really fantastic. Some people have found Snapchat filters of the NPC meme. So this meme is going to blow up. And before we get into the article, I know I'm kind of being long-winded, but one thing that these people who write these articles trying to criticize memes, trying to debunk them, trying to erase them, and the people that ban them from the internet, as what is the case in Twitter's situation, they don't understand that the more they come after memes, the stronger memes get. All right. Because that's the whole point. We're trying to poke fun at you guys who want to do this. All you're doing is making this meme become more popular. I would not be here right now in my chair doing a video about this particular situation if it were not for the liberal establishment getting triggered about this. All this video here is going to do is get a bunch of views and make the meme more popular and more widely used. But let's get into the article to see what it says. This is written by a guy named Kevin Roos. I don't know who that is, but let's check it out. It reads, last week, a trolling campaign organized by right-wing internet users spilled over onto Twitter. The campaign, which is born in the fever swamps of 4chan and Reddit message boards, involved creating hundreds of fictional personas with gray cartoon avatars known as NPCs. These accounts posed as liberal activists and were used to spread, among other things, false information about November's midterm elections. Let's pause right here. Now, you're generalizing by saying that everything that they put out was false. How do you know that every single thing that every person that had this avatar said was false? And at a certain point, you have to understand that this is just a joke. It's not real. All right. Real human beings, real adults understand how reality is different from fantasy. And if you're talking about interfering with the election, you're talking about adults. You cannot vote if you are a child. You have to be at least 18 to vote. So I really don't understand what's going on here. Well, I do understand. I know what it is. They're trying to use this whole thing about you're trying to interfere with the election. You're posting misleading information. This is a whole spinoff of the whole Russia kerfuffle. They're saying Russia interfered with the election using social media. So if you post memes, which is what was done a lot during Trump's campaign, then you have to get banned from the internet. They realized how effective meme culture was during the Trump campaign. Now they're trying to ban it so they can have an easier road to victory in the midterms and also in 2020. But again, all they're going to do is make the meme culture get that much bigger and create more distrust between the average individual and the mainstream media and these big giant social media networks. But let's get back to the article. Over the weekend, Twitter responded by suspending about 1,500 accounts associated with the NPC trolling campaign. Is it a campaign? Like, is it something that, did Russia do it? Is Russia involved? The accounts violated Twitter's rules against, quote, intentionally misleading election-related content, unquote, according to a person familiar with the company's enforcement process. The person, who would speak only anonymously, was not authorized to discuss the decision. If you're confused, you're not alone. Here we try to unpack, that's the new hot word now that the cool kids say, the NPC meme and what it means and why it's causing trouble on Twitter. Now, let's pause for a moment. I've seen a lot of election ads over the past few weeks and months leading up to the midterms. You have a lot of mudslinging and a lot of misleading information there. They're allowed to be on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, television, everywhere else. But if I post a meme just making jokes about the election, then all of a sudden I'm posting misleading information. It's not about the information being misleading. It's about the information being effective. It's about the jokes being effective. And that's why you want to get rid of it. Because if it was about misleading information, you would not have all these political ads mudslinging all over your platform. A lot of these commercials have been proven to be false with documented evidence, but yet they're still there. But let's keep going. What is an NPC? I pretty much already explained that, so we can just skip right past it. As a matter of fact, that's funny. They used the whole Zelda thing. That's interesting. All right. Down, it says, what's that to do with politics? Several months ago, users on 4chan and Reddit, the online message forums, started using the term NPC to refer to liberals. These people, they said, joined the anti-Trump crowd not because they are led by independent thought or conscience to oppose President Trump's policies, but because they're brainwashed sheep who have been conditioned to parrot left-wing orthodoxy in the manner of a scripted character. Well, a lot of that is true. That's even if it's not necessarily true, that's our opinion. Are we barred now from expressing our opinion? What happened to freedom of speech? Is that not really, I understand freedom of speech protects you from being penalized by the government, but at what point do you go from Twitter saying this is election interfering to the government saying you're election interfering? Because they did that same thing with Russia, the government that is talking about, oh, you're interfering with the election. They're bringing Twitter and Facebook to Capitol Hill to testify about that. So what makes what Russia did different than what many of us are doing as it relates to memes and that sort of thing? But let's keep going. As a Reddit user, Based Medical Doctor explains in the thread about the appeal of the meme, NPCs are completely dependent on their programming and can't do or think on their own. Exactly. Is there more to the NPC meme? Sort of. There is NPC Wojak, a crudely drawn gray cartoon avatar with a pointy nose and a blank face. And that's the meme right there. Let me see. There we go. That's the meme right there, right on that side. This is hilarious. A Pez dispenser. And you see some of the Pez candies going into it. Orange man bad, racist. Diversity is our strength. All right. NPC Wojak is a variation of Wojak, an old cartoon also known as Feels Guy, that has become a kind of collective mascot for the far-right commenters online. So why does it have to be this whole thing about far-right? I've used the Feels Guy meme, and I'm not far-right. I consider myself to be center-right. So New York Times, aren't you also posting misleading information? Should you get punished for that? Should you get banned from Google and Twitter and stuff like that? But I guess it don't really count because you guys are liberal and you guys get it passed, but I digress. In recent weeks, users on 4chan and Reddit have made all kinds of memes featuring NPC Wojak. Here's one. And there are many more. Hey, you know what, New York Times? I don't know what's going on here. Are you trying to promote the meme? Because you're posting some of the best memes out there. And this panel right here is right on it. See, they're all different colors, but at the same time, they all have the same viewpoint. And I really like that a lot. That is fantastic. That is gold. Yeah, exactly. I didn't even see this right here. It says the NPC meme is gold. Yes, you're just promoting it. And this is a thing why. It's a long story, but the short version is that a group of young, extremely pro-Trump internet trolls have spent the past several years mocking anti-Trump people as whiny, easily triggered snowflakes who are primarily motivated by social acceptance rather than by logic and critical thinking. Well, I mean, that is the case a lot of times, not all the time, hashtag not all, but we've seen the rallies and how they descend into chaos. These never Trumpers, these protesters talking about white supremacy and the patriarchy and all this, that, and the third, crazy things, beating up on people, throwing eggs, hurling racial slurs at people like myself because I'm black and I support Trump and I'm a conservative. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate description for a lot of these individuals who are targets of this big, bad, hateful, disgusting, and racist meme. Back to the article, many of Mr. Trump's supporters, including, as of last week, Kanye West, put their support for him in the language of free thinking rationality and paint the other side as being motivated by blind loyalty and identity politics. Mr. West said of his pre-Trump supporting days, "I was programmed to think from a victimized mentality, as was I and as were many other people, which is why we can identify others who fall into that same trap and have not gotten out yet." But let's keep going. The NPC meme fits neatly into this narrative and offers Mr. Trump's online supporters an easy shorthand way to paint liberals as humorless prudes who say Trump because HBO host John Oliver told them to, who march in protest and put on pink pussy hats because they're the popular things to do and whose views can't withstand scrutiny. Shout out to the New York Times. I feel like this article is trying to attack people who use this meme, but at the same time, they're very clearly explaining why this meme is being used and why it's effective and why the other side is a total mess. In parentheses, and then when progressives object to a meme that portrays them as unthinking automatons, it becomes another piece of evidence. See, the left can't take a joke. Exactly. I mean, it's simply a joke. We're not talking about anything that's really that deep. Come back with your own memes. It's just like when you're getting roasted in school, you can't just be cowering in the corner. You got to be able to come back, and it's all in good fun. It's not like there's any kind of threats being made or anything like that. If you think that the meme is whack or it's bad or whatever it is, come back with your own and do that. So what happened on Twitter? Last week, a group of users on the r/the_Donald, Reddit's largest pro-Trump forum, decided to take the NPC meme to a wider audience. They created dozens of Twitter accounts using fictional NPC personalities. The NPC Wojak avatar and bios like fighting against Nazi, racist, Trump, fascist, Cheeto finger. They use these accounts to follow and tweet at one another as well as at liberals, creating the semblance of an army of resistors mindlessly repeating anti-Trump talking points. The campaign began as a joke, but a few of the accounts started posting misleading information about midterm elections, including encouraging liberals to vote on November 7th. I mean, but come on, this is a cartoon. You think that, look, this is a cartoon avatar. If you take advice from a cartoon avatar seriously, then what does it say about you? Again, we're all adults here. We're not talking about children. If you're a 6-year-old child, maybe you take that seriously. But if you are an adult and you take advice from a cartoon on Twitter as to when you're supposed to be voting, you probably shouldn't be voting anyway. But let's continue. This was a bridge too far for Twitter, whose rules prohibit giving out knowingly false voter information. Are these people actually trying to interfere in the election? Probably not. Evidence suggests that these are mostly just attention-starved gamers looking to impress one another by triggering the libs with edgy memes. I mean, why does it have to be so negative? Why can't you just say it's a joke and laugh at the joke? People don't want to laugh at the joke because they get offended, and you wouldn't be offended if it wasn't true. Like many comedians of the past and present have said, the best humor comes from a place of reality. And if you get offended to the point where you got to write these hit pieces and suspend people, that means that it struck a chord. You got personally offended. Like the old saying goes, hit dogs holler. But not everyone gets the joke. State officials are already worried that voters will be fooled by deliberate social media campaigns that contain incorrect voting information. Similar types of disinformation spread on social media in 2016, which makes companies like Twitter nervous. So what that really meant is that meme culture was effective during the election and it helped Trump get elected. So we don't want Trump to get in there anymore. People that don't like Trump at Twitter are nervous. That's what that means. Are these Russian bots? Probably not. Although some of the NPC accounts may have been automated, there is no sign that Russia is involved in this. Mostly it appears to be a 4chan joke that spiraled into some mild voter suppression. Wow. So we're going to call memes and meme culture voter suppression? Really? For real? So because a cartoon avatar said vote on the wrong day, that is the equivalent of voter suppression? Come on. I think that the average adult, I think that 99.99% of adults are intelligent enough to understand that you're supposed to vote on the correct day. You're not going to take advice from a cartoon on Twitter. But let's keep going. Aren't you giving these trolls the attention they're seeking by writing about them in the New York Times? Yes, you are. And they acknowledge that. Yes, probably. But understanding how these things happen and how easily joke memes can escape the internet's seedy underbelly and morph into actual tools of influence is part of understanding the mechanics of modern politics. And as we've learned, ignoring trolls doesn't always make them go away. So you wrote a whole article on memes and how meme culture is the equivalent of voter suppression. Is that what we're going to talk about for real? Wow. You know what? I think the media is getting what they deserve. The liberals are getting what they deserve. New York Times, all these people. Look, if you get offended at this meme, you're not being real, in my opinion. What you are really doing is expressing your fear that these jokes are so good that it's going to impact the election. All right. People may see the joke online and they may want to get down with the Trump campaign simply because it's a cool thing to do. It's edgy. It's unique. It's something that's, it's a counterculture I want to be involved in because I like being edgy and stuff like that. You think, and you're probably right, that the meme culture helped Trump get elected and you're afraid. You don't want to go down the same road you went down in 2016. You wouldn't post your fake information out there and you don't want us to post jokes. All right. So I think that will pretty much do it. What do you think? Do you think that Twitter banned this harmless meme over here simply because they are afraid that it's going to have an impact on an election in a positive way for the right? And they want to do everything they can to prevent any kind of positivity to go towards the right. And what if this meme were helping the left? Would they be having the same types of reaction? I doubt it. What do you think about social media in general trying to silence people that have different points of view? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments.